Hello, everyone. It is Friday, so you know what that means. It's another episode of the Plus in Pageantry on the BGE Cloud. I am so excited. As y'all know, one of my goals was to start talking with more contestants that I have not met, and I have the honor to do that today. I'm super excited. I'm going to let this young lady introduce herself, but I am here talking with my girl, Destiny. Destiny, say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Beautiful. Oh, I just forgot to turn off my iPhone features. But anywho, Destiny, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are, where you'll be competing, and kind of what you want to talk about today.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Destiny. I am a native Washingtonian, and I competed in the Miss District of Columbia USA 2024 pageant that just recently passed. I'm representing my neighborhood, Southeast DC, where I grew up, and I focus my platform on financial literacy with a focus in personal finance, just to get my community educated on the things they may or may not be aware of when it comes to financial.
Okay, so Miss DC USA. Hey, do you know what was the contestant count?
I believe for the Miss, there were 16.
16. And how did you do?
I did not place this year. However, I did much better than last year. Last year was my very first pageant, and this year was my first pageant with a team. So, with proper training, a coach, and everything like that. So, I think I did much better than last year. But this year was cut tight. So, we had 16 ladies and it went from 16 immediately to five. So, we only had one.
Oh, wow. That's a cut.
That's a cut.
Okay. Yeah, that is a cut. And how long have you been competing?
This is my second year. So, this is my second time ever competing in life.
Wow. Okay. Oh, so you're new. We love that. We love that. Oh my gosh. I truly want to see more women get into this space. I think there's still a lot of stereotypes about what pageantry is.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what kind of turns a lot of people off. But I'm so excited. So we got you right at the head of your journey with great things on the horizon. So that is awesome.
Yes, I'm
And
so
then
excited.
you have a platform based around personal finance.
Yeah.
So what do you find is a common thing that I'll say young women don't know they should be doing for themselves in the financial realm?
I would say most likely being aware of how much spending power they actually have. So I was lucky to get a financial literacy internship my sophomore year of college, and I learned about how to manage my money, how to budget, how to get more income, and also types of investments and things that you can involve yourself in financially. And so what I noticed was I always felt like I never had enough money to do certain things, even to take care of myself. And when I was in college, of course, most people know you don't have that much money in college unless you come from a wealthy background. So you have what you have to get by. So I learned that a lot of young women do not leverage the amount of money that they have. Coupons are a great way to save. Discounts at stores, signing up for memberships are a great way to save. I know that was really helpful for me when I was in school, getting those 2-for-1 deals or just being a member, you buy one, get something free. That's really helpful when you are in school and possibly struggling. So I think that most women um, don't realize how much, again, spending power they have when they actually write out their budget.
Yeah, I think it's actually really, really interesting to think about. Actually, before we go a little further, can we run a quick test? Can you
Yes.
turn your earbuds off?
Off.
Yeah, I'm getting like a kind of bubbly sound. So let's just use the mic on your device that
Okay.
you're recording from.
Oh, does it sound better?
Let's say a couple more things. Say hi, I'm Destiny again.
Hi, I'm Destiny. So sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm
No
trying to.
worries, no worries. Yeah, I think that sounds a little better.
Okay, let me just try to turn this situation. I have my headphones on. Sorry, you guys. I have my headphones on noise cancellation. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, because it was kind of sounding like the mic was covered, even though I can clearly see that you're wearing your headphones. So it's just kind of one of those things.
Is this better?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably because my hair is rubbing up against it.
Okay, let's work with that. But as you were saying, like I find that really interesting. I definitely recall my time in school and just really, really stressed about, I'm only working part time in school full time. How best do I A, use my time and B, spend my money? Um, and I, as an adult now in my 30s, that's painful to say, but in my 30s, I
Oh, blessing. It's a blessing.
right? I mean, growing older and wiser is definitely a blessing, but socially, you have to be trained to see it that
Yeah.
way. Like if you
Yes.
don't come up realizing how great it is to age, then you'll be stuck in the stigma. But yeah,
Okay.
right now I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn how to use the credit cards I have and like
Mm-hmm.
the cashback rewards and the points and the things
Yeah.
like that because I get so tied up in I want to let the points build up. I want to let the points build up and then I never use them. They just sit there,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is kind of like a marketing scam in my opinion. That's my conspiracy theory.
I
Like
agree.
they tell you, oh yeah, you can get the points, you can get the points, and then the line keeps moving for
Right.
what you actually want to use the
Spend
points
more, you'll
for.
get more points. You'll qualify for these points. I understand.
Yeah, so I think that's really really cool. Just kind of putting a light on the spending power in the young folks community because I think it's very easy for you to see what you don't have
Yes.
and not really be able to leverage all that you do have. So wow, that's actually a really incredible platform.
Thank
Um,
you.
when it comes to your pageant journey, are you anticipating staying in the DC circuit, or do you think you'll branch out and like maybe move to a different state?
I think I considered it because I just want to grow. I'm interested in moving around. DC is my hometown. I grew up here in the city. And so I feel like it's important that if I were to do pageantry to best represent my city, because, at least when I first got into pageantry, I assumed it was an extent of that nature, people who are from their hometowns. But I learned that you can be from all types of areas of the nation and you can go and represent these organizations. So I think it's wonderful. And so I've definitely considered that. But at this time, I'm definitely still wanting to be in DC. I'm interested in the USA system because that is a system that would take you to Miss USA and then to Miss Universe. So that is the system that I am currently in, but I have peeked my head at others.
I mean, you got to keep your options open. There's a lot out there. And, I'm the choreographer for three USA qualifying pageants. So
Okay.
I choreograph for Idaho, Washington, and Oregon.
Okay.
So
That is
definitely,
amazing. Yes.
right? Definitely have a lot of love for the USA system. That's where I got my start in pageantry.
Okay.
So I see the dream, like I
Thank
see it,
you.
but I got my success in pageantry when I started to branch out and experiment
Okay.
with other systems. So I always, when asked, I always advise women like, I know I get it. Like,
Hmm.
I know what it's like to want to see those stars across the top of
Yeah.
your head. I full on understand. Um, I want to be a part of the class of women. It's harder to see your daughter walk across the stage at Miss USA than to have a son playing the Super Bowl. I
Yeah.
want those things to apply to my life. But when I took a step outside of my own dream
Hmm.
and just took the avenue to get on stage more, take more speaking opportunities, still represent my state. There's nothing like wearing your state, your region, your
Yeah.
area across your chest. So I'm just saying.
I And I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I've looked into other systems as well. Like a system that really drew me into pageantry, I'll say, of course, was the Miss Universe system. I watched that growing up on Fox and everything like that. So that was really fun to see. But I also like watching the Miss Grand International. Those are really fun. I
Oh
really like
yeah,
the theatrics.
yeah. They're a little over the top.
Yes, and I thought it was very interesting because I always assumed that pageantry was what I known it to be. It's just, like, well, I assumed before I became knowledgeable. I thought it was runway and gowns and, you ask an on stage question and they pick their contestant. But I didn't know that there were different genres, should I say, of pageantry, and that was really nice to learn. So I was really drawn to that as well.
Yeah, I'm in this very same boat. When I was growing up in East Texas, I had like Miss America and Miss USA because those were the ones that came on TV.
Hmm.
You know, so I used to, me and my grandma used to watch them together when I was
Oh,
a little girl. So when I moved to Seattle, um, I was too busy for pageantry when I was young,
okay.
when I was like younger,
Hmm.
because you know your girl was busy. I had a lot to do. I had a lot of boxes
Yeah.
to check. You know what I mean?
Hello.
So, hello. Okay. So, you know, cheer, drill team,
Ah, same.
volleyball, you know, like student government, you know, all
Yes.
of the things. So when I got the National American Miss, they used
Hmm.
to send out flyers in the mail. And I
Okay.
got,
Yeah.
and I looked at my mom, and my mom was like, how? Like, how, girl? She was like, my
Hmm.
pockets can't take it, baby. You got to pick.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, been here as well. I know my family. My family wasn't interested in me doing pageants because they felt like it was a very predatory thing for young people to be doing. And so I didn't really understand the severity of that at the time. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I too was a cheerleader. I said, I understand. I was a cheerleader. I was also an SGA in my high school days. So I totally understand. And it was expensive as well. So I knew that pageantry came with a price. I did know that because I used to watch, like most women, I used to watch Dollars and Tiaras, and you saw those big old price tags used to fly
Yeah.
across the screen for those headshots and those flippers and those dresses.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh, yeah.
like, oh my goodness, like we'll have to do this when we get up in age.
Right. I was like, I'm gonna have to work on this when I can actually contribute, right?
Right. I'm like, we're just
Um,
gonna
and
put that on the back burner.
I love that your family worked to protect you,
Yeah.
because a lot of the things that young women do tend to have some kind of predatory stigma. I mean, even cheerleading
Yes.
or like if you're a majorette or anything like that, you know, those things can be very sexualized very quickly. So
Right.
having family around you that's kind of like, hey, listen, we want you to experience the best parts of your youth.
Hmm.
However, you know, we think you should maybe be a little bit more mentally prepared before you go into this or go into that. Um, do you have any family who are in the pageant world at all, or?
I want to say yes and no. So not officially like in any pageantry, but my younger sister, she was actually on the court in her school. She was the like you know how they have subliminary groups for your HBCU. So like they have, so she was a miss of her one of her community service groups, and that was the first time I had ever seen uh, well myself like that in a light, and it was very inspiring. I had always admired women who were in pageants, especially in the collegiate level, because it was not something I ever felt like I could do personally. I had a lot of battles to overcome myself, and I never saw myself in such a light. I've always seen myself as a model or someone who could just be there in the face of fashion or something like that, but never pageantry. Like pageantry required a level of, I feel like, sophistication, a level of regality. And I feel like at the time I didn't possess that. But when I saw my sister doing it, it really taught me that I could step out of my comfort zone and I could try to be in a pageant one day.
I love that. You know what? We are going to be good friends after this
Yeah.
because we have like very, very similar. Mine was body issues, um,
Okay.
just self acceptance in that realm, which is now, you know, a lot of what I've built my platform and my business on.
Yeah.
So I struggled in that regard. I was like, oh, everybody's skinny, like everybody's thin, everybody's fit.
Yeah.
Me and all my people, you know, we're a little wide, you know, just a little swole, you know.
Ain't nothing
So
wrong with that. Ain't nothing
right,
wrong with that.
right, right.
Hello.
So I love the state of pageantry currently, on
Yes.
the really big acceptance ride, and I'm glad to have been a part of it because I think my first year competing at Miss Washington USA, I think it was myself and one other curvy girl.
Okay.
So I love kind of feeling like a pioneer in the space. you know.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. Someone
And
has to get us started. Yes.
you know what I mean? And that's the message that I'll always preach to younger folks trying to get into spaces that they're uncertain about. You know,
Yeah.
you can't be what you don't see. And as scary as it is to be the first to branch out on your own, to do something that the people around you don't really understand, as long as it's
Yeah.
not hurting anybody or putting anybody in danger. Disclaimer. I think it's
Right.
I think it's I think it's really really great because my family, when I decided to like really get into pageantry, my family
Hmm.
was like, "You want to do what? You want
Right. Yeah.
you want to do what? You want to be
Are
in a
you
what?"
sure?
Yeah,
Is this where you want to go? Is this how you want to represent yourself? And it's so many. It's unfortunate because it's so many, like you said, bad stigmas around pageantry. But what I've realized with being in the pageant world, like it forces you to be someone. It forces you to be a person of confidence. Like it really forces you to not only put yourself out there, but it forces you to empower yourself. It forces you to empower others, and it allows you to develop and grow. Like it's so amazing how pageantry has, like you said, pushed you. I am in awe of how much pageantry has pushed me. If you could see what I looked like a year ago, getting my journey started, doing all this, we, I couldn't even, if this would look like a year ago from now, like I want to know what a year later from today would look like. And
right.
I'm just so amazed. So yes, that people put these crazy stigmas on pageants. I think that's anything that has to do with, personally, I know this is a trendy topic right now, hyper femininity, but I think it's really important. I think there are not enough spaces for women to show their vulnerability, their access to their beauty, their acceptance of each other and themselves. It's always women in some type of competitive nature, but it's never one that really nurtures the essence of being a woman, you know?
Amen. Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's so important that we have these spaces where we can just be women, let's just really dive into all that is, because being a woman is such a complex feeling, you know.
Yeah.
You open so many doors and you create so much, and
Hmm.
yet you're hardly recognized for all that you are because you're such a multifaceted being. And
Right.
I think it's incredible if, I don't know what's right, what's wrong, but if the good Lord lets me choose the next time around, I want to come back as a black woman again. You know,
Hello.
I can't be anything else. I
Right.
just can't imagine it. So
It
I
is a
think it's
beautiful experience.
incredible that we can kind of bond over the shared experience, which is a pageant, and I think pageantry gets a bad rap because for so long it was such a very small niche group of people that pageantry catered to.
Yeah.
But now that more women can be included, like in the USA system, age
Hmm.
band gone. You can now have mothers, wives,
Yes.
just like all of these different ways that people are included. I think it's brilliant. Now if we can see it all the way through, that would be great. So it doesn't feel like a marketing scam, and so that we don't feel
Yeah.
used. That would be great. Um, you are in a very competitive region for pageantry. In the last 10 years, what have we had? Two DC USAs,
Yeah.
Miss USAs. So you are in a very, very competitive region. Um, do you feel that kind of sharpens you or dulls you when you're getting ready for your competition?
I think it definitely sharpens me. And I say that because I'm someone who I enjoy being challenged. It's not always the most exciting thing for me to do, but I'm a lifelong learner. I enjoy learning. So even lessons like most people say I'm a hard headed kid growing up. I gotta learn lessons the hard way sometimes. So like a lot of people told me jumping into pageantry, the DMV area is really strong. You might not want to go there your first go round. But I thought, why not? Like I'm from the area. I have some type of experience. I could try. The instructions say I can try, so I'm gonna try. And I think it just allows me to feel more inclined to push myself because I'm trying to align myself with women who are in this circle of winners and are in this unique organization of not only the Miss DC USA Sisterhood, but the Miss USA Sisterhood. And these are privileges, these are not rights. And so I feel as though, it's my duty to at least try to, if I'm going to try to claim or want to claim a title, my best bet and again my duty would be to uphold myself to those types of standards.
Mhm.
So if we know that they are USA qualifying women or USA crown title holders, excuse me, then I need to look like a title holder. I need to perceive myself as a title holder. I need to believe that I can be a title holder and see what that embodies and try to voice that not only to myself but to my community. And so I think it's a great way to challenge myself being in that top tier sector of pageantry.
I'll definitely compliment your mentality because you have to have a strong mentality to compete in a strong region. Um,
Yeah.
and one thing that I feel is kind of um, muddied over sometimes in the industry is just kind of like that come to Jesus moment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, every woman has something special. Yes, every woman is capable of doing whatever it is they put their mind to. However, you got to look at the board. Like
Right.
you got to game recognize game kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to have a good understanding of where you fit in order to assess the journey that's ahead, in my opinion.
Right.
So that's great that you're kind of like, I see the talent around me and I know that I'm capable of the same level, if not greater greatness than I see in my area. And you have to have that and you have to believe that and you gotta pray on
Hey,
it. You know.
if he won't
Um,
do it, it just won't get done.
because if he say no, then but I think that's absolutely incredible, and I commend you for that because
Thank
coming
you.
into this space new it can be intimidating because you're getting a lot of solicited and unsolicited advice
Yeah.
coming coming in, and this is unfortunately still a really gossipy culture. So
Yeah. I learned that very quickly, I will say. But to be honest, to be completely transparent, the women of the DCUSA Sisterhood are very, very kind. For it to be my first pageant last year, I had a great experience. I joined the last 30 days. It wasn't something that, yeah, let me be very transparent. I joined the last 30 days just because I was coaching at the time and I just really, I'm a young person. I really want to pursue my dreams. I want to continue to do things for me. I got my degree. I represented my family well at college. I'm ready to do something for me, and that was pageantry. And so my sister told me, she's like, Destiny, you got to do it this year because if you don't do it, you're going to regret it. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm absolutely going to regret it if I don't do it. So I did it last year. And I had a ball. I had a great time, gown unaltered and everything. I had a great time.
we love
uh,
that. We love it when it all comes together. Yes.
yes. So this year when I came back and campaigning to be a title holder, I got a lot of love from previous title holders in the Miss DC USA Sisterhood. And it really meant a lot because again, like you said, these women are very competitive. These are women in a tight, close knit uh, sisterhood that people are not privy to that type of access. So to me, to even get some type of acknowledgement, whether that was a follow, a like, a comment, a hello in public, a picture, that stuff really meant a lot to me because it meant to me that they could see me in that circle. And so that's what keeps me going outside of, my personal endeavors.
I think that's incredible, and I'm glad that they have embraced you. Um, I'm glad that you are getting coached. Like, what was your experience like shopping for a coach once you decided that you were going to come back and give it another try?
Mhm.
Were you welcome to the idea, or did you take some convincing?
I was welcome to the idea of a coach and coming back. So again, like I said, I joined in the last 30 days. I had a great experience my first time. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do this again. This is no problem. So we'll try again next year and then we'll try again next year with intention. So I was like, I want to get a coach. I saw that there were like different programs and platforms. Again, I'm totally new to pageantry, so I'm not sure if there are certain coaches for interview versus your walk versus your stylist versus whatever else you need a coach for in pageantry. In pageantry, you need a coach for almost everything.
You need a team. You need a team.
Yes, you need a team. And so I had a few platforms follow me. I followed a few platforms already, again, because I was just trying to inform myself on the pageant world. And I found my coach through Our Reigning Beauties. And I found her through initially when we were when people were campaigning to compete for the class of 23. I saw that this page kept reposting this beautiful young lady. And I was like, who is this girl? And I saw that she was a contestant. So I'm like, okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So I went to their page and I saw that they had other clientele. So I'm like, okay, great. This is a good platform. But I noticed that they said they only coach one person per pageant. I was like, oh, okay, I have to wait. So luckily, that person won that year. That's Miss Cassie Ballou. She won Miss DC USA 23. And so I'm not gonna lie, I immediately reached out to the team and I said, hello, my name is Destinee. I am new to pageantry and I would love to, you know, work with you all if you are open to coaching. I know your client just recently won. If you all are open to coaching, please let me know. I'd love to talk. And so Kies got back to me and she let me know that she would speak to me separately, have her team review, and then she'd get back to me. And I waited for about a month, I think, like a month and a half. She
Oh,
got
that's
back to
gonna be
me.
crazy.
Yes, it did. And I was like, oh, should I look for someone else? I was like, well, I kind of sort of already interviewed with her, so I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. I'll be patient. And she called me back. And she was like, hey, I'd love to work with you. We're really happy to know that this is your first time ever competing, and you don't have any pageant experience. So we think you'd be the perfect candidate to start molding for whatever pageant that you're looking for. I'm like, okay, wonderful. So I told her, I'm interested in DC. I went last year. And she was like, oh, okay, awesome. So she started to go back through all the footage and was like, oh, that was you? I'm like, yes, that was me. So that's how I found my coach, simply through messaging her. But again, I saw her previously when she was advertising her initial candidate for DC USA.
I love Kies Down. She's a friend of mine and a friend of the podcast. Um, she was the choreographer at International Ms. last year.
Okay, yeah,
That's
she is wonderful.
that's where we met, and she's just like so much fun, and it's just like one of those things. I resonated with her because I'm also a choreographer for a pageant.
Yes.
And it's like when you have a group that's giving you no play, no energy, just like
Mm-hmm.
they're just trying to get on and off. And you have to kind of be that battery that just kind of gets everybody charged up and just like excited to be on stage. And
Mm-hmm.
it's beneficial for everybody. It's good for them because they get good pictures and look like they're
Right.
actually having fun. It's good for the organization because it looks like a fun show. So I truly enjoyed her, and we a group of us ended up going to Epcot, and I had never been. Ooh,
Okay,
I was like,
yes. Look at
I was like,
you.
let me go, let me go, let me go. But yeah, she was a whole lot of fun. And when I interviewed her on the podcast, she was saying how her group only takes on one client per system, and I absolutely love that.
Yes. Yes, I love the one client system as well. And I like it because for me, I'm someone who I need that private one-on-one coaching. And it's not that I don't do well. Again, I've been an art star cheerleader. I've been a ballerina. So I know how to take a class with a group of young ladies and we all learn the same thing and hope that one of us get picked for the role.
Right.
Um,
So you're
but
very familiar with like the audition process and what it
yes.
takes to, get out there and be chosen to perform. That's nothing new to you.
Yes. However, I will say that I know that pageantry is a different type of beast. She needs to be approached with caution and care. This is not something you just do for fun. This is done with strategic planning and intention. And so I knew that I needed a coach who had those same that same mindset and those same goals. And it's no bashing to anyone who does group training or anything like that because there are wonderful organizations that do group training. But I know for me personally, my learning style and experience, I need one-on-one because I'm the person in class that's raising their hands every 5 minutes. I got a question. I need you to clarify this real quick before we move on. And because I learned like that, I don't want to stop anyone else's learning process.
You have to, you definitely have to find what works for you. You have coaches that are very, very hands on. They
Yeah.
want you to call them when you get off stage, talk about how you feel. Like you
Yes.
have people who are just like really, really into it. Take me a picture of the earrings. Don't take a picture of the earrings on the counter. Put it in your ear and
Yeah,
let
for a
me
year.
see. Yeah. Okay, before you leave your hotel room, I need you to take a picture. Let me look at it before you go. Okay, don't forget to take
Hmm.
that hair tie off your wrist. Like you have coaches
Yes.
that are
Oh goodness.
that hands on. It feels like another parent. And you have coaches
Yes.
that are like, call me when you get home. I trust in you, and we've done all we can. You have all the tools. Call me when you get home. I'll watch the live stream, whatever. Like
Yeah, Kies is
so.
definitely the hands-on parent. Like even during pageant weekend, I think there was someone other than the director, someone was there recording, I think on their live or something like that, and or taking pictures and uploading us to something. And my coach messages me. She's like, "Take that headband off your head." And I
Right,
can just hear it in her voice because I'm like, I'm really dressed up and everything, but it was hot. The lights are
right.
on. I got lace. I don't want it to come up.
Right? I'm trying to keep this slick down,
All right,
babe.
we gotta keep her together.
She was like, uh-uh.
Yeah, she's very detail oriented and hands on like that.
My best friend, I met my best friend in the entire world at a pageant years ago.
Oh.
And we just hit it off. And she's like that with me. I'll take a picture or whatever and I'll post it. She'll be like, "You need to take the Apple Watch off." Like, and I was
Mm,
like she'll post something cute on the comments like, "Oh, go best friend," flame emojis. And when she'll
right.
text me, she was like, "A, take that Apple Watch off. B, like, can you smile? Can you act like you're having a good time?"
Yes.
Yo, but we do that for each other. Like, she'll, before we even go to pageants, we have a FaceTime and we go through wardrobe,
Yes.
shoes. So it's kind of like we're each other's coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's adorable. Like I love having that. And then it's somebody who really understands pageantry. Like Kies has been in
Right.
pageants for, or in the world, in the realm for so long. She gets it to a formula.
Yeah.
So, yeah, love her. And I love that who, you're kind of under her wing. I love that for you. That's great.
Thank you.
I support that rubber stamp.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So you mentioned All Star Cheer.
Yes.
Kudos. I could
Thank
never.
you.
You know, the backhand spring. I just
Look, let me put an asterisk on that. I was an all-star cheerleader. I was not the furthest I got was a back handspring. But
okay.
my team was not doing that. I was on a level 3 team, but we did level 2 and level 1 tumbling
Gotcha.
because we were a newer team to the organization, but we could do level 3 tricks. We just weren't doing all that flipping
Well, I mean, that's what would have stopped me. That's what stopped me from cheering in college, actually.
around.
Um,
Okay.
Most colleges require like a backhand spring, and
Yeah,
my,
same.
mine was a little janky. Like I was like,
Same.
"Ugh."
Listen, we are definitely going to be good friends. I tried
Right.
out for my cheer team at my university, and I made the cuts. I made the first half of cuts. I was like, okay, great. I can get through the door. We got this. And second day was all about tumbling. I said, oh no.
Ooh.
And the spots, they're not like your typical spots. Like they're not like your. I feel like gymnastic spots, and there's no shade to the process, but I felt like it was just a light. Like they just want to make sure you wasn't falling over, but they weren't like. You know how like they give
Yeah,
you
yeah,
that
yeah,
like they
yeah,
that
yeah.
touch. They weren't doing all that.
They were
It
like,
was either you got it or you don't. And I flipped. Oh my goodness. And it was okay. It wasn't horrible. I definitely got carpet burn on my forehead though.
I mean, it'd be like that.
Right. But I
Like
tried.
I know, like when I was a cheerleader, I absolutely loved it. I was, a captain at my school. Definitely like teach. I invested all star, all American.
Yes.
Like all the things. Loved it down. But I think it's
Mhm.
just a testament to my personality. Like,
Yes.
when I'm going to do something, I A, want to be the best, B, want to be recognized for being the best. And, I want to just explore it as far as it'll take me. I
Mm-hmm.
did that. I didn't cheer in college. Well, I actually ended up going to art school. I
Ooh,
wanted to go.
fancy.
I went to school for fashion design, but I
Oh,
wanted to
that's really
go.
cool.
Right? It's so fun. It's so fun. It's
Yeah,
dangerously fun. It's terribly expensive, but dangerously fun.
I
Um,
can imagine.
right? Like, as most things that I've chosen for myself. But yeah, I wanted to go to a HBCU. I
Hmm.
wanted to go to Grambling. Most of my family went to
Okay.
Grambling State University. Um, uh, go Tigers.
Yeah.
Or, um, but yeah, I had such deep roots at that school. Like, my uncle's heavily involved with the band. My
Okay.
cousin was a cheerleader. My other cousin was on the Orchesis dance team, and
Ooh,
yeah, and
yeah.
now is a part of their coaching staff. So I just knew I was going to Grambling. Like, anytime through my
Right.
anytime somebody mentioned college, I was like, oh, I'm going to Grambling. I'm going to
Right.
Grambling.
It's a family
Um,
college. We're in the Grambling.
yeah, and then life happened, and I was like, or I could stay home. I could stay here in Seattle and
Right.
try to figure it out. And I was going to community college because I just couldn't make a decision. And then I ended
Right.
up talking to my cousin and was like, oh, do you still draw? Do you still like fashion? Like, I remember, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I do still draw. I do still like fashion. So I explored that and I loved it. And now, X years later, circle back, I just opened a boutique here in
Yeah.
Washington, formal wear.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Oh my gosh. But it's just kind of like, I feel people who have that drive to really give it
Hmm.
all to a sport, to an activity, to, a
Yes.
path. I feel like those are the people who you see become entrepreneurs, who you see
Hmm.
doing big things in their community. And it sounds like that's what I heard from you, because you said all star cheer,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, that's not an easy game to play. Got it.
Yeah,
And
no.
then you said ballet, and I was like, okay, we like extreme sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always, it's funny because I've always put myself like similar to like you said. I put myself in these experiences that I want and these challenges that I want because I really see great things for myself. Like I know it is extremely hard to be optimistic. And I won't say I'm the most optimistic person, but as far as my goals are concerned, I've never seen less for myself. I've never seen less than greatness for myself. And I'm always striving to see what else I can conquer. Like in my timeline, I started with ballet. Ballet was fun, and I kind of got knocked off because I was told, oh, I started ballet at 12, and they were like, oh, you can't become a professional ballerina. You started too late in the game. And if I was listening to myself now say that to someone as a 12-year-old, that is so disheartening and disrespectful. Like you can go to high school and college and still become a professional ballerina. And so, you know, after I got that dream killed, we went to All Star cheerleader. I was like, okay, well, at least I could be an NFL
I can do
cheerleader.
this. I can
I
do
could
this.
I could do this, you know what I'm saying? So I did a high school cheer, and that was really fun. And then I transitioned to All Star cheer because high school cheer, and I don't know about yours, but my high school, we were a newer school, so we didn't have the advancements that All Star cheer had. Like we weren't doing a lot of tumbling and a lot of basket tosses on that. It was just kind of stomping, not stomping shake, but just like basic 1-2
Yeah.
claps and all that. I was over it. Wasn't enough for me.
You're
So
like, I
All
need
Star cheer.
more.
I need more.
I need a
I've
challenge.
memorized all the cheers, and so I loved All Star cheer because although, like I said, we weren't tumbling a lot, we were doing some type of tumbling. It just wasn't off the ground. So the
Yeah.
most we did was a back handspring, but we were doing walkovers and stuff like that, which is still very challenging if you can't do
Yeah.
those things.
Yes.
Um,
There's a way you got to stretch your back to be able
right.
to make those things happen.
Ugh, don't remind me. Look, I remind myself every day I should have done that. Every time I turn this way, I hear a crack or two.
You know what? When I was doing drill team, our drill
Mhm.
team did like a jump split. Like, we did jump
Oh,
split. Uh,
okay, DCC, we see you.
on concrete in the street in parades. Yeah,
Okay,
probably
okay,
not
okay, not bad.
beautiful for
Not
the
bad.
show. Long term
Right.
effects on the body.
And they said, oh, they're
Um,
young, they'll find a bounce back from it.
right. So now I have to crack my hips every morning, like
Oh,
before
get
I
the
can
day
really go.
started.
So I'm like, I was like, oh my gosh, arthritis, please be kind to me. like,
Listen,
I'm
tell
not
me
going to
about it.
claim it, but the signs are there.
The signs are there. Listen, as someone who was a trick flyer for my team, so I was a person in the air. They were tossing over in the baskets, had to do the toe touch basket toss and all that. It really does a number on your spine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so, especially if you get dropped a couple of times. So, because we're all still teenagers. Some
yes.
people get
But
distracted easily.
back then, you just bounce right up, you know?
Right. No problem. You felt a little tingle. You got up. Okay,
Yeah,
no problem. Shake it off.
walk it off, whatever. And then, because I was a back spot, and my thing, like I
Okay.
always told my flyers, I was like, one thing about me, like you may like come down, but you're not going to eat mat, like,
Yeah.
and that's on mamas, you know. Ooh.
Thank you. Look, I love my back spots. My team, my son group was great. I will say again, I was new to everything I did. I just knew I could do it. It didn't matter. But my I love my back spot. I love my spot. Some of my bases I'm still friends with today, and it's just so amazing because it was such a journey. It was so fun. But definitely something that does wear and tear on the body if you are not ready for that lifestyle.
Yeah, I for real. Like I wish I was closer to more of my drill team friends like
Hmm.
today because I think we might have something on the young ones, you know,
Hmm.
because we was out there risking it all.
Right.
We was out there risking it all. Now there's like safety rules and things like
Yeah, I
that.
saw that. I was like, you know what? We can't be mad at them, but
Yeah.
save the hips for those who still have them.
Save the hips, save the baby's hips because and
Yes.
then another realization I had, child, I gotta wear two knee braces. I ride a Peloton, so I love
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice,
my
fancy.
oh girl, yes. It was I bought my Peloton right before COVID hit. I got my Peloton a
Okay.
month before COVID hit, and I'm thankful. But
Yes.
I think I got a promotion or something, and I was like, I think I deserve a little something from
Yeah.
me, a
Well,
little
I'm a
something,
treat.
something. Yeah, a little, yeah. And then I got it, and all through COVID, like an active member of the Peloton cult. Okay,
Yes.
like I love that thing. And then I bought a home,
Hmm.
and that was my biggest thing. I was like,
Oh,
how
yes.
am I going to get my?
Congratulations.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Yes, I.
Yes.
It was a
Home
goal of
ownership.
mine to purchase a home before 30.
But we'll have to have you on Dibs to talk about home ownership. Yes.
Oh yes, girl. Heavy on the ownership, ladies.
Yes.
If you can, you should. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can't, you need to develop a plan so that you can. Amen.
Okay.
Uh,
Amen. I like
like,
that one.
like,
Mm-hmm.
but that was on my to-do list. I was like, okay, I'm in this space. I'm really, really fortunate. I was able to live at home because me and my mom are like this.
Yes. A
Um,
blessing.
right? Like I was like, ooh, yes. So I worked in apartments, in property management, and
Okay.
I knew I didn't want to live in an apartment. I was like, Lord, no. Mm-mm.
Yes.
Lord, no. Mm-mm. I want whatever it is. I wanted to kind of be building some kind of equity.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be mine. So I bought,
Absolutely.
I was in the middle. So I bought a condo because I didn't want to worry about yard work. And
Okay. That's fair.
and the biggest thing I had to worry about was transporting my Peloton and getting
Uh,
it up the stairs. Because I was like,
right.
oof, oof. I was like, am I really going to pay movers just to move my Peloton?
Hmm.
But
I
no,
mean,
my
it's a good
my best
investment.
gay came
Good
through.
investment. Oh, yes. There you go.
Yeah, my best gay and his boyfriend came through and they moved
Hey,
it for me.
listen, we still appreciate the muscles. Thank you so
Right,
much,
right.
friend.
I paid them in pizza. It was great.
Oh, look, even better. Look, and they got a meal. We got our Peloton. The world goes round.
Life's good. Everything was right with the
I
world.
love.
But I
Yes.
think that's I to circle back to you because girl, I'll talk about me. But to
I
circle
know we
circle back
good.
to you, I think it's incredible and you're on this really, really great trajectory
Thank you.
to kind of continue to shatter glass ceilings for yourself and choosing a platform that isn't your run of the mill platform. Like a lot of what you see in the pageant world, you'll see a lot of mental health awareness, breast cancer awareness, like,
Yeah.
so even your platform kind of separates you from the bunch because you need a bit of expertise to um,
Yeah.
to speak on kind of building a positive portfolio, a positive financial relationship between you and your monies. So
Yeah.
I
It's,
think that's incredible.
and I appreciate that, because it's very hard as a young person. You are a young person yourself. It's hard trying to constantly prove to people that you are knowledgeable in an area, regardless of how many years of experience you have. I know for me, it was very hard for me to one accept the fact that I was going through financial literacy, and then two, because sometimes, especially in our community, sometimes people are not receptive of information. "Oh, what do you know about that? You're only 20 something. What do you know about that?" And it's like I don't need to have to go through extreme hardships to know if something's wrong.
Right.
Um, and so for me, my platform was the biggest thing I had to bet on about myself because I'm very knowledgeable. I've had two internships with the United States government and Department of Insurance, Banking, and Securities to learn enough about financial literacy. And I've also worked in financial aid at my alma mater, Alabama State University. So and I've been an RA, so I know a great deal about when it comes to finances, especially trying to survive your collegiate days and your young person days. And I've been blessed with that information. And sometimes I get a bit of imposter syndrome because people expect me to either give them a full ride scholarship with a 1.2 GPA, and I'm like, I can't do that for you. Like that's not the information that I am privy to,
Yeah.
or it's something like people want me to clear their credit card debt that's in the thousands. I That's not what I'm here to teach. I'm here to teach personal finance and to teach people the tools they can do to build themselves up, or if they are in those circumstances, ways they can begin to get themselves down. I'm not a one-stop shop answer. I'm not here saying I have all the poof answers and then boom, your debt will be wiped away if you do XYZ. No, I'm not your scammer. I'm not doing all that. Um, so
I
when
think
I tell people things like, "Oh, I'm sorry, forgive me."
no, no. I was just saying. I think that's so. It's cultural. We live in like
Yeah,
a instant kind of gratification
yeah,
and hack culture.
yes,
everybody wants the hack that's going to fix their life, and it's just kind of like, nah, baby, you dug yourself a debt hole. It's going to take some
yeah.
time.
It's gonna take some time to get out, but it's not impossible.
Right.
And I think that's what the biggest thing is for me. Like, I'll be transparent. My student loans, like, my biggest thing is I tell people I paid off my student loans, and I know that catches people's ears because they're like, "Oh, I got student loans. I want to get rid of mine." But what I did was, and I always share this with my friends and my close family, like reading is so important. I feel like if people read the legal contracts they're signing, they would realize that you don't have to commit to so much that you need to. For example, my debt was no more than about $10,000, and I was able to pay that off. One, because I paid attention to the contracts I was reading. So, for example, my junior year, I was a RA. I still had a loan debt. I was paying school for myself, so I'm working. Where was I working junior year? I was working in financial aid. I was working at Jimmy John's. I'm
Oh,
working.
Jimmy John's, yes.
um, and I have no. That's my very first job, and I'm very proud of it. I never let people. I rep Jimmy John's
Come on,
hard.
come on. Jimmy John's has the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had in
They
my life.
do. I
They
tell people
do.
that all the time. They're like, "What do you like there? What do you like?" I'm like, "The cookies. Don't
The
sleep on the
cookies.
cookies.
Don't sleep on the cookies. If you're not a big sandwich person, just go in there and get
Just
that
the
double,
cookies."
triple chocolate chunk, whatever it is.
Mm,
Yeah, I
some
have
people,
made
definitely.
Jimmy John orders just to get the cookie.
My lady, I would have gave you two. When I see people do the delivery order for a cookie, I'll give them two. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. So yeah, I'm working all these jobs, and I had to cover my balance because, at university, if you don't cover your balance in time, then you can't register for next semester. And
Mm,
so it wasn't an option for me. I had to finish school because, family name. I gotta represent. I gotta do well. And
right.
so I went to my counselor, wonderful lady. I'm like, hey, I have a balance. What can we do? And the first thing I would say to that is talk to your counselors in financial aid. Sometimes you have a high enough GPA to receive an external scholarship that they're just holding on, waiting to disperse funds to people who qualify. You just have to ask. Like, that's one tip. That's one hack I'd like to give everyone. Go to those offices. Go to your chief of staff's office. Go to any office in your university and see what scholarships are available. You'll be surprised. But also, you have to maintain a good GPA. Again, this is not something for people who are experiencing people like on academic suspension. These are people who are in good academic standing, and they will gladly grant you some funds.
Yeah.
If you're not in good academic standing, there are actually grants and things that will help you get out of those situations. However, it's a little more tedious and a little more time consuming. So
Yeah.
um, that is a hack I'll give the people. But I learned from my counselor that I was about to take out a $2,000 loan. I had a $700 balance. Now, as an adult, doesn't sound too pricey. Like, okay, a couple payments, we can get $700 down. But when you're making $7.25 an hour,
Right.
$700 sounds like 2 million.
Right. You like
So
707?
Jesus, I was like, I don't got that type of money. And she was like, well, you can take out a loan. And I was like, ugh. I don't want to take out a loan. I just took out a loan last year, like, and that was a lot of money. That was $5,000. Like, what am I supposed to do now? And so, right, I'm being transparent. And
Yeah.
so, she was like, well, I was like, actually, can I see that? And I decided to read the monastery note, and I said, the promissory note, not monastery, excuse me, promissory note, and I read that I can just take out the exact amount I need. So I took out like $700 exactly. And I was like, okay, I don't need to take out this whole loan is $2,000. I can only take what I need. So that's what I started to do. And I know some people use those funds for
Like to
like
live.
yeah, like to live off of. But again, I had a job, so I was okay with my 725, make it stretch. I like to do things in bulk, buy my soap in bulk, buy my
Yeah,
snacks
you
in
can
bulk,
go
all
shopping
that good
at your
jazz.
parents' house, rob
Go,
them for some stuff,
you
It's
know,
gonna be a lot of oodles and
or
noodles.
it's gonna be a lot of noodle nights. Like I'm just very transparent.
I
Like when it
like
comes to
noodles. I don't
financial
care.
literacy. Thank you. When I was in school, I would make sure I do because for some reason when I came home back to the city, I could never get a summer job. DC is a really tight area, and so if you weren't already working up here, like it was hard to get a job before you were going back to school. And so I would never have a summer job, unless it was through SYEP, which is another great organization in DC area. And again, I'm still making 725, 825, not really making a lot. So I would save all my summer money and I would buy the stuff I needed for school, whether it was in increments at a time or those last minute sweeps, and I would just take all of that to school because mind you, I am in Southeast DC. I'm going all the way to the state of Alabama.
It's-
Uh, so I'm doing this every year. I'm just making little mole piles and bringing them back to school, so that way when I get to school, I have the funds um, while working to sustain whatever it is that I want to do. If I want to go, because I'm not going to tell anyone, oh, save all your money so uh, you can't enjoy the rest of your life because you want to go to your college party. You want to join certain organizations, and they're going to ask for dues. So
yeah,
you know,
it costs.
it
You
costs to be
know,
the boss.
it does.
So sorry, this little curl is unpaid actor. Oh my goodness. There
it
you
has
go.
main character energy.
Yes. And so those are just a few of the things that I've learned. It came with a lot of sacrifice. That's what my transparency is really about. It came with a lot of sacrifice. And I noticed when I talk to people about my journey, my experience, a lot of people are not willing to do that sacrifice. They're not willing to cut off half of a summer of fun to save your money to make sure you have what you need in college. Because unfortunately, my parent is taking care of all of my siblings at the time. They're adults now, but they were still young. I'm the oldest of four, so they were still in school while I was in
Of
college.
four.
Yeah. I'm a big
Oh,
sister.
so you have a little sister.
Yes, I have one sister and two little brothers. Well, three actually.
I'm an only child, so I don't know what that life is like. But
Must be
yeah.
nice.
Oh,
Yes, it is. It's definitely a lot of sharing, but me and my siblings, we have a bond that is unbreakable. Like it's amazing. Our sibling bond is I wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly. And that sounds so cliche, but I would double down on my siblings, right or wrong, anytime. That is how much I love my siblings.
like you know what I will say, full transparency, being an only child is great, but you get
Mhm.
lonely, so I always had friends around, and my
Okay.
friendships were always like really, really, really deep, so
Hmm.
anybody that I considered friend, it was like, you're at my house every weekend. Anything I'm doing,
Yeah.
I'm signing you up for, like it's just kind of
Yeah.
really, really close, tight knit friendships. So it's like a lot of those folks are still in my life today, like who I really had those tight, close knit bonds with.
See?
So it's like my chosen siblings,
Yes.
you know.
These are your sisters too.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm like, all right,
absolutely. Hey,
like, hey
yes.
y'all, shout
Hey.
outs.
So yes, so I definitely understand, like even when I was away, I was repping my siblings like they were my kids. I had them all on my little what do you call those things? Like little cork board, your little calendar, whatever.
Yeah.
I used to have their little school pictures lined up and they're
Oh,
like, oh my goodness. They're like, do you have kids? Like, I'm first of all I'm small. Like I don't know why people was thinking I had kids, but moms are, you come in all ages at this point. So they're like, do you have
right.
kids? Or they used to only see my sister's picture. My sister's picture would be somewhere else. My brother's would be on my corkboard. My sister's, I think, would be on like my vanity or something like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, is that you? Or do you have a child? I'm like, no, that's my sister. Oh my gosh, looks just like you. So yes, I
It's like
love my siblings.
crystal. Thank you.
Yes, I have their pictures everywhere I go. Well, at least when I was in school. Now I'm home, I see them. But when I was away, yes, they were always up there.
I think that's beautiful, and to your point about people not really wanting to make the sacrifices to kind of make these things work. It's it's interesting to see
Hmm.
like how much someone's dream will shrink when they realize what they are and aren't willing to do. Um,
Yeah.
Even in the pageantry space, a lot of what you do in pageantry is an investment.
Yes.
Whether it's, your gown, interview outfit, coaching, the
Hmm.
actual general participation in the pageant.
Yes.
It's an investment, and it's not just a fiscal one. It's your time, it's your effort, it's your advocacy, and
Hmm.
you're connecting what you already do to an established brand and trying to make sure that it meshes. And
Right.
people, I don't know, it seems like people have lost that drive to be great generally. you
Hmm.
know Nobody
Yes.
wants to, what it they're not shooting in the gym, they're not shooting in the
Yes.
gym
And
no
that's
more.
shooting in the
you
gym. And it's
know
funny that you say that because I used to always go around shouting, what are you going to do? I'm going to go be great. Like, you go be great now. Go be great. And it's so crazy because people don't even say that to each other no more. Go be great. Go be awesome. Like, and it's those little things. Like you said, especially in the pageantry world, I learned very quickly that pageantry was a big investment. Again, last year was my very first time, 30 days. It didn't matter to me. I had my big girl job, so the cost didn't matter. I'm just no problem. I'll go ahead and pay the registration fee. But this year it was a lot different, and I realized that with the team, the intentional styling and things like that. Like I didn't know last year. I was happy to be there. That's all I kept telling people. I'm just happy to be here. And this year I had to really invest in my styling, which was something that I have been developing over the years. I've gotten better at dressing business professional, but as far as like casual styling, it was hard for me to find my niche, like what I want to look like. And so with the team that I invested in this year, they have helped me get to that point. And I think again to your point of being invested in pageantry. It is something that if someone is interested in it, you definitely got to have the funds for it. I remember the first time when I was backstage with a few of the young ladies last year, someone told me that this is a rich girl's game. Like you got to have the funds to play. And that's kind of true to an extent. It's not impossible, but it is a bit true because with the registration fees alone, like if you don't have that,
And
it's tough, right?
yeah, I
Hang it
mean, you
up.
don't need a custom whatever
Yeah,
down to win. Confidence can carry you, but if you can't even pay for admission, uh,
yeah, it's a little
it gets
hard.
it gets a little hard. And here in Washington, Washington State,
Hmm.
pageants aren't, that popular.
Okay.
Excuse me, we're not really a pageant state. We're growing, we're
Yeah.
becoming, as Michelle Obama would say, we're becoming. Um, but we're a little bit behind the times. So a lot of our pageant participation starts when women are leaving high school or are already in
Okay.
college. So our teen pool and younger pool is very, very small. And then you know we're a very liberal state,
Hmm.
so putting the value into something like a pageant just doesn't make sense to a lot of people here.
Right.
They don't see the value in investing in women in this way. And a lot of people feel that pageants are misogynistic and so forth, right?
Hmm.
So it takes really strong leaders in the community to come out and say, well, no, 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 no. I think it's a little misogynistic to tell me how, what, where, when I should feel empowered. But
Right.
you know, this is actually giving me a platform for me to educate you about XYZ. And I
Hmm.
like this format because ABC. So you're not only having to prove yourself, especially when you're shopping for funding here in Washington State, you're not just having to prove yourself, but you're also having to defend pageantry. So
Right.
so it's interesting, just trying to really, really gather the community here, and it is growing.
Hmm.
We have a lot of people who have moved here from elsewhere, and that's not a dig or shade, but it's kind of helped grow the
The
the pageant experience and community here.
right. Yes, and someone who has always lived in the city and just decided to dive into this sector, I notice how it's still, even though we're in a big city like Washington D.C., it's still a small world in the pageant
Mhm.
world, and I didn't know that. But it is a beautiful thing to see because the people who are in the community are very, very passionate about it. And I
Yes.
think that's what's important. And I think that's what allows, like you say, even in Washington State, for the community to continue to grow. You just need one person who's really passionate about it. And once they find their person who's also passionate about it, it will continue to grow because that's just what influence is. And I think pageants are extremely influential as much as people, try to knock them. They're absolutely beneficial to, I feel like, the development of young women. Like, it's not one time a person hasn't, or I feel like young girls look at a princess and say, "Oh, I want to be one."
Right.
And pageantry allows you to live that dream out. And I don't think people really, get that. I know it's like very surface level, and it's like, oh, well, we're not just talking about 5-year-olds destiny. We're talking about 22-year-olds and 70-year-old one woman who want to live out their dreams. And I think it's really important to know that there's still a little girl inside all of us. We
Yeah.
all want to be valued and cherished, and we want to feel like we are the winners of our world. And I think pageantry really allows you to focus on that. It allows you to be in a what I call a safe, glamorous space.
You love that.
Yes, like no one's like, I mean, women are women, but no one's mad at you for being all dolled up because we're all dolled up. Like, we like to do this, and no one's gonna sit here and judge you for being infatuated with yourself, for lack of better words.
Well, I think it's important that there is kind of like a healthy infatuation, because I feel when you don't have that kind of value for yourself, that's how you
Hmm.
end up in these messy relationships. That's how you end up selling yourself short in your career,
Yeah.
not getting what you deserve, in the
Hmm.
boundaries that you plant yourself in. So it's important to wake up and be able to look in the mirror and be and love the girl staring back at you. And my boyfriend makes fun of me actually. He goes, I have never, he was like, I've never met a woman that loves themselves as much as you love you.
That's wonderful. That's
And I
that's
was
that's
like, why shouldn't I? You know, like,
right.
and it
Right.
sparked a
I love me. I love
conversation,
looking at me.
right? Like, I was like, oh,
Well,
why you
not in a
gotta
vain
say
way,
that?
but it's important to have self love. I was speaking on a panel in April about that, and I was actually just telling my boyfriend about that too. Especially as Black women, as young women, when we get to this age, when we get to our 20s and 30s, and I've seen it with women in my family and mentors that I've worked with. No one will teach you unless they really truly care about you. No one is going to instill that confidence in you at those ages. No one is going to tell you to love yourself. No one is going to tell you that, Amber, you're the best Amber ever. Like, you're so gorgeous, you're so intelligent, you're so smart, you can accomplish anything. Don't worry about the haters because you are going to go far. Like, no one's saying that to you 20 plus. Like, and I think that is, again, back to the sisterhood of pageantry. That's what pageantry, I feel like, does. Like, although you will have people in your system or even in your class that may butt heads, we're all still here for a common goal, and that space allows women to do that. And self-love is extremely important. That's something I've learned throughout this whole year. I Another transparency moment. I started out at a size 8 last year, going into my pageant journey, and I this year I'm a size 0, and it took a lot of
Girl, you was
discipline.
working.
Yes. It took a lot of discipline. It took a lot of consistency, and it took a lot of self-love, because at first I was really upset at myself because for a while I felt like I didn't recognize who I was in the mirror. Not because of what I looked like physically, but I didn't know who I was anymore. I just felt like I was moving through life with no purpose. And pageantry gave me a reason to get off the slump, to get out of that slump and to get back on my high horse and recognize who I am, the accomplishments I've made, the contributions I've made to my community, and do something with it and not sit here and pout about it. And so it's been a ride this year, but I'm grateful for it all.
I think that's incredible. And one thing that I want to remind people out there is the body positive movement goes both ways, y'all. It's a sliding
Yes,
scale. You know, we can't vilify people for being thin and praise people for being curvy, or vice
yes,
versa. Like, I mean, if you have a goal out there and you achieve it, that's what this is supposed to celebrate. We're supposed to be
yes,
celebrating all bodies.
yes.
So I think that's incredible. You know, you set your sights on something and then
Thank
you were
you.
able to pursue it and getting done. But there is a bit of that uncertainty that happens
Mhm.
whenever you make a change. It could be as simple as changing, like cutting your hair or changing the hair color, in
Yeah,
order to kind of find that look that's really going to either set you apart or make you internally happy. And
hmm
it's a lot of work. It's a lot
I
of
know.
work.
I know for me, for the body positivity, I knew I was very happy with the size I was. I had a good shape, but I just felt like I wanted to be more comfortable in the two piece, and I wanted to do that on stage. And I know, again, like we were talking about earlier, the caliber of women that DC sends, I knew that I had to be at least two piece ready, and so I decided to do that, and it allowed me to feel a little more comfortable by myself. I've fluctuated between sizes since I've been in college, and so I've always been okay with how I look, and I just find it funny because how you mentioned I've had people in my community who poked fun at me for being curvier when I was heavier, which is again not an issue, but when I was, people made fun of me for that, and then when I was slimmer, people made fun of me for being too slim, and it's just like you can't win for losing. So like you said, you got to be happy with where you are and what you want to be, and for me, that was definitely getting into a swimsuit because a two piece because when I wore my one piece, I was very happy. I loved my one piece swimsuit, and I still do. But I feel as though a lot of it, some of it definitely came from the adverse experiences in pageantry, which is a bit of bullying. I remember that first year, I heard people making fun of me for wearing a one piece and like Like yeah, like you know, like you hear the whispers. It's loud enough for you to hear, but you know they're not talking to you about you.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not gonna lie, it was fueled with a little bit of vengeance. So
It 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 stings. It stings a little bit.
right, and I
Um,
was like, you know what? Okay, that's fine. But then I saw a lot of beautiful petite women as well this year wearing one pieces, so it made me feel comfortable. It made me realize like, you know, although I did make these dramatic changes based on a few elements, um, that the people around me still subconsciously encourage me to be comfortable in whatever it is that I decide to wear.
yeah. I think that's the thing. You can tell no matter how much you spend on a garment, you can tell when somebody is comfortable in their skin, you know,
Yeah,
and it translates on stage. So being whatever weight, and being happy in your body is it's a feat,
yeah,
especially when you're in a sport where you are being judged, and you're relying heavily on your peers to actually get through the process.
hmm
I know for me, when I was voted Miss Congeniality the 4 times that I competed at Miss Washington USA, obviously, right?
yes.
Um,
Congratulations,
right.
girl.
Thank you. It's such an honor, and I love it. I love it. I have so many congeniality titles through my career in pageantry, and they're my absolute favorite. So, thank you to everyone who's voted. But but I heard someone. I think it was the second time I won. We were backstage and getting ready to go back out on stage for crowning, and somebody goes, "Yeah, you got like yeah, she got congeniality. That's the Fat Girl Award." And I was just
Oh,
like,
see,
in a past life, I would have been ready to pop off my earrings, okay?
right.
But I'm trying to grow and elevate,
Right.
okay? I was,
Just
and you
just
know,
say you mad because you didn't get the award.
I was just on such a cloud, and that was one of those moments where I was like, it doesn't matter. Like you just simply can't please everybody. Um,
Right.
you literally get an award for being kind and helpful and genuine,
And they still
and
mad.
somebody finds a reason to try to diminish that. You
Right.
know, so I've always like since that moment, I've always just been like, girl, you have to play this game the way that you
Mm-hmm.
want to play this game. You need to decide what you want to get out of this experience, and that's the angle you need to work because, yeah, like
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
please everybody.
I think that's so important, you know, because I think people always expect like there's no rule book to life, you know. There's no way to go about things. There's no this is how you need to behave to make sure that you're a top pick for the pageant, you know. And so to your point of, you know, you got to figure out what works for you, like you really do. And people who are just have negative things to say about whatever award they win. Because I hear people all the time just like someone's mad that someone else got swimsuit or that someone else got evening gown or that someone else won. And it's just like, you know, you can't take away those accomplishments from others, you know. But even if the other person hears it, you can't those people cannot allow those harsh words to dictate how their worth pretty much. And I think it's important that, you know, people develop mindsets like yours while we're in the pageant world. Yes.
I think it's incredible. And one thing that I cannot stand about pageant culture today, there's a lot of things that I love. So, if I didn't love pageantry, I wouldn't still be involved, trust me. But I hate like the it was rigged culture.
Uh, yeah,
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
like that either.
I don't like it. And it just, no matter how you say it or what your intentions are, it always is going to diminish what the winner is experiencing. Um,
Right.
and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in the pageant world since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've
That's
devoted
it.
I'm 31. Had to think about it. 31,
Mm-hmm.
and developed. The last 10, 12 years of my life, I've developed in devoted to pageantry. And in all that time, almost every single pageant I've been at, it was rigged. The judges wanted blondes this year, the this, the
Mm,
that, like, oh,
yeah.
I guess they wanted a girl in a red dress. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like the things that people pick to kind of harp on. It's interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so in looking and being somebody who is also like a participant and a steward and being able to see what goes on backstage, I'm happy that the pageants that I've worked with on staff have debunked all of those theories for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm happy that my experience has taught me, okay, there's really no merit to this. It's just,
Hmm.
it's just what people think. Like it's just
Right, yeah.
right.
And I think that's really important. Like I said, this is my second year. I've never been in a system where I felt like the pageant was rigged. Unfortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately, I feel like every person that I've been in a pageant with and or seen pageantry, I think that they are well deserving. And I think from the research that I've done personally, a lot of people don't know what goes down in the interview room. So what you see on stage and what you might think is fantastic on stage, their interview might have been out of this world. And I think that's very important to consider because we never know how personable one can get in their interview. And I think that that's something you really won't see on stage. Even if there's a on stage question, that's not something you'll really be able to take away. You won't be able to grasp the concept of who they are or what they're passionate about in a 45-second answer on stage versus a 5-minute interview, you know?
What
So,
was your interview 5 minutes?
no, it was 30.
Oh, I was about to say, girl, you hit the interview lottery. You got 5 minutes.
No, 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 no. My
Oh,
interview was 3 minutes. They made sure we knew it was 3 minutes.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
They had the beeper in the background. Beep, beep, beep. Okay,
Our
thank
interviews
you.
for Washington and Idaho
Hmm.
were, I think they had 4 minutes. So
Okay.
I was in the hallway before the girls went into interview. Just,
Okay.
I like to do a look over before they go into the interview room and then we talk and I just kind of keep everything light.
Hmm.
And when I found out they had 4 minutes, I was like, sign me up, coach. I was like, nobody
Now
gave me
sign me
four
up,
minutes.
coach.
You
Yes,
know, I was like,
we
okay.
definitely got 3 minutes in ours. Oh my goodness, we definitely got 3 minutes in our excuse me, in our interview, and it was fun. I had a good time in my interview. I'm learning things every year. The very first year, oh, you could tell I was scared. I got my video. This is what I want to see. I knew it wasn't the best, but I just want to see it look like shoulders are up here. I was
Oh
just
my God.
so I'm so scared.
My
Uh,
first pageant, oh my gosh. So my first pageant, my interview was great. I was having so much fun.
mhm.
This is what I love to do. I love to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I think it was my last judge or my second to last judge. And he goes, how are you? And I was like, oh, great. Da, da, da. Super excited to
Hmm.
be here. And he was like, okay. He was like, how's your aunt? And I was like, my what? Like, how's my aunt? I was like, I guess she's well. I haven't spoken to her in some time. And he was like, well,
Yeah.
then he goes, I don't think they're going to count my scores because I think we're cousins. Like, I think we're related. And I was like,
Uh, okay.
well, it's great to meet you, cousin I've never met before. You could still judge me, though.
Right. I'm
like,
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 okay.
like, you can
We
still judge me.
we
Like,
can
write
discuss
it
the
on
family
paper.
tree afterwards, please. I would like my scores.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know you, but,
Oh,
great to
and that
meet
was another thing. Yeah. I'm sorry. That was another
you.
thing that made me realize about the USA system, which was interesting to me. I didn't know that we didn't get scores back. I thought that that was something that was, and it's not too bad of a bad thing because I too am a journalist by trade, so I know how to work a room, speak to people, try to get feedback. But I did not know that you didn't get scores back. So I'm like, how does one
That's
really know how to
depending.
improve?
I think that's depending on your
Like
state
state.
leadership. Yeah, because our directors offer, you have to pay for it, but they
Oh,
offer
okay.
you the opportunity to get judges' feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, but you just have to pay for it before the pageant. I honestly think we're the only states that do it. Our three.
Okay.
I think Montana might as well.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, most of the USA states don't give judges feedback. When I was competing for USA,
Hmm.
you didn't have to pay for the feedback, but you did have to like call and like actually
Yeah.
catch the director and be like, hey, 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 do you have a moment? Um,
Yeah.
did the judges write anything down about me? I was West Seattle. Yeah, thank you. you know, so
Right.
it was a
Do
little
you
bit
guys
of a
remember?
gamble. Yeah, but now they have it as an option. You
Okay.
can purchase your judges' feedback, which I think is great.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a shot in the dark when you don't know what didn't work, but also different judge, different day, different result. So
Yeah, and they say that a lot too. So I try to be open minded about that because long as you know that you're improving, I guess that's what's most important. I know for myself, I know what I definitely can improve on from this year to next year for sure. So my
your
goodness.
curl is like, we need to name her.
Oh goodness. This is I don't know what her name is. She's a showstopper for sure though.
Yes, it's Katie Curl. Katie
Katie
Curl.
Curl. Yes.
But I think you are on track. I think you have a
Thank
great presence
you.
about you, and you have the right mentality. Um, Another thing I think is really important when you're in the space is just understanding that this opportunity is so much bigger than the crown. And
Yeah,
if you're competing for sparkly jewelry, you're going to fall short every time. Um,
absolutely.
and the level of work that comes with that crown, with that sash, it's it's so, what is, downplayed. our
Yeah.
queens our queens make it look really easy. um, but it is a lot of work, and it is a big commitment, and I definitely am happy that systems like USA are now open to having women from all different backgrounds participate, because I always thought that was a little odd. You
Hmm.
say you're an organization for women, and yet you exclude so many. Like,
Yeah.
that never 100% sat right with me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we're gonna let some of the USA drama die down, in this next
Yeah.
year, and we're just gonna go in next year, and we're just gonna we're gonna hit it.
Hit the ground running. Yes, I'm very excited. And I do appreciate it. Your insight is very, very much received and appreciated. It's great to meet beautiful women like yourself on these platforms and being able to discuss, so much because pageantry it sometimes feels like a secret club. Like you got to know the know. You have to know who's who in the
Yeah, you
industry
got
to
to
know
get the
what you're looking
decoder
for.
ring. Get the decoder ring
Yeah.
out.
To try to figure out where you need to go next and who you need to speak with. So, I really appreciate you having me here because it really means the absolute world to
Oh my gosh. Well, like I said, we're friends now.
me.
So you can hit me up. I'm going to go ahead and close this episode out, but stay. We'll chat really really quick.
Okay.
But everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in to another
Thank
episode of the Plus in
you.
Pageantry on the BGE Cloud. This has been a really really incredible conversation about pageantry journey, personal finance, and just
Yes.
all around being great and pursuing your greatness. Before we head out, Miss Destiny, where can everyone follow and support your journey?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at exclusively Desi. That is EXCLUSIVELY DESI. No underscores or anything like that. And as well as my pageantry and financial literacy platform, you can follow me at DIBS DIBS with Des DES. So we will put those on the screen, and so you
they'll,
can follow
they'll,
me
they'll be
there.
definitely be in the description for
Yes,
my
in the
audio
description.
listeners. Go ahead and just go rewind that back. Okay.
Yes, yes. This with
Do
Des. Follow us, please.
Yes, follow, support. We're trying to do good things for the communities that we serve and
Absolutely.
that serve us. I will have all of those platforms linked at the BGE Cloud on Instagram and Facebook. So do be sure to follow. I love you guys. Have a great day, and don't be afraid to pursue your greatness. We'll see you next
Yes.
time.
Bye.